Hey, and thanks for tuning back in. This week we're going to talk about some crazy stuff that's been going on and just give you a reason why we're running so far behind on this podcast. A lot of you follow me on social media and you've seen some of the crazy stuff that's happened. But we're going to talk a little bit about it today. Just before we get into this, go grab yourself a nice hot cup of coffee and we'll jump right in. So we've had a pretty crazy time here the past, 8 or 9 days. Most of you know our situation, but some of you don't follow us on social media. Some of you don't have social media, so I'm going to share with what we have going on. We've had a pretty rough way to go over the past little while. Many of you know we had Silas from America. He was with us in Papua New Guinea. A lot of you know about the current situation there as far as the elections and everything goes. But we've covered a lot of ground in the past little bit. A lot of air, a lot of ground, a lot of sea. We've just been all over. So a couple of weeks ago, the escalation there in Papua New Guinea, the elections and everything, it just got crazy. And what we did is we decided that it would be best if we was to fly down to Port Moresby, get Silas down there, get in a room somewhere safe that we didn't really have to worry about much. But as time progressed, things did too, and things just got completely out of hand, out of control. Plenty of people were being killed there in Papua New Guinea, and we called back, talked to Brother Ball, talked to Brother Barnett, and collectively we all decided that it would be best if we would just come back to the States, get started on our deputation early, and get Silas and the family out of Papua New Guinea for the time being until the elections are finished. Right now, from what I've gathered, we've got 5 provinces that have failed in their elections, which basically means that those 5 provinces will get a chance to revote. It could be anywhere from 2 weeks to 2 months to whenever they decide to calm down enough to actually do that, get to a point where they can all come back together again and vote again. But until that time comes, things are still pretty shaky. There's still quite a few fights and quite a few things being burnt. Plenty of people are being killed right now. So please just continue to pray for Papua New Guinea. The spirit of fighting is thick. Everybody's wanting to fight everybody else. It's just a crazy, crazy time there. Many of you don't know, but I'm gonna share with you now that we're back in the States some of the things that have happened over the past couple of weeks to kind of help us come to the decision to come back and start on this early deputation. Basically what we had is there at Mount Hagen, there were several people that were killed out at the airport the day before we flew out. Then the day after we flew out of Port Moresby, there was actually 17 killed right across from the place where my kids were going to do some last minute shopping and things like that. Originally, our expectation was we was going to fly out of Hagen, go down to Moresby, hang out for maybe 2 weeks or so, and then we would go back to Hagen, finish everything out, have our conference, and then come to America at our scheduled time. Well, that didn't happen. So many things just got so out of control that we called back, talked to Brother Ball, talked to Brother Erickson, talked to Brother Barnett, which is our superiors there, and was advised, by Brother Barnett especially, that we needed to get Silas and get the family out of there so that we could just come back and start an early deputation. So many people are just fighting for no reason. We get back to America and we start scrolling through, reading some news, and people's, just stoning cars, pulling people out of their cars, stealing them, and all this crazy stuff happening. We also have all of these people being killed in the streets. We flew out of Port Moresby, made it to Los Angeles. and get online and see that Papua New Guinea has requested help from the United Nations to come in because the police commissioner stated that he was unable to control the crowds and that they had done everything that they could do. Then, after we got back to Indiana Saturday evening at about 7 o'clock or so, or our flight was delayed. That's a whole other story. But our flight was delayed. We made it in a little late, and as we were sitting there, I started scrolling through, reading some more news, and see that there are tanks in the streets, that there are, people that they've enforced, where you can't go out at night. There's certain hours of the day you're allowed to go. All of the businesses were closing because people were just stealing and just looting and doing all this crazy stuff. The reason our flight was delayed, it was crazy. We get to L.A. We was excited to get back, see our kids, and the pilot that was supposed to fly the plane didn't show up, so they had to go get someone else. And then this pilot, whenever he done the walk around, he found an issue with the plane and was able to get that fixed. So thankfully we made it back the same day, just not quite the same time we were supposed to. But I'm just thankful that God kept his hand upon us all throughout all of that. Plenty of fighting, like I said, in Papua New Guinea when we was getting ready to leave to bring Silas to the airport to take him to Port Moresby. We actually was held captive in our own property by someone, and we got locked into the gate, locked us in, wouldn't let us leave, trying to talk things out. Finally, we was able to come to an agreement and get Silas to the airport without anyone being hurt or harmed. That's something that we'll be dealing with whenever I get back to Papua New Guinea, but for now everything's good there. My family says hello. We're just thankful for all of our supporters that's been praying for us. It's crazy. I didn't realize how many people, you have people praying for you when you're in the mission field, but you don't really realize who all's praying for you until you get back here. Crazy thing is, our home church is in Newcastle, Indiana. We're currently staying in Connorsville, which is mine and my wife's hometown. This is where we were both raised. And, most of the people that we know anymore, they're in the Newcastle area. They're around. But we're here in Connorsville, and me and my daughter, we went to the grocery store yesterday. And this couple came up to us, and they was like, hey, it's good to see you. Good to see that you're back. We've been praying for you. And it was people that I hadn't talked to in, like, years. So it's amazing to know that even though we may not see everyone all the time, even though we may drift apart over the years, we still have people that are praying for us. That even if we don't hang out all the time, it's great to know that we've got people that are fighting that fight. Because as I say all the time, and I'm going to say again, the number one thing that any missionary needs is prayer. Because if we have people praying for us while we're in the field, while we're doing our day-to-day, that means that God's just dealing with everything else, right? Even though we're the ones that are over in Papua New Guinea and we're trying to do the will of the Lord, it's our continued prayers and support from people like you that are listening to this podcast that are able to help us in so many ways. Even though you may not see it, your prayers are definitely felt, they're definitely heard, and they're definitely working. I have an idea for next week's podcast. I'm going to talk to my family and see about doing a family podcast. Sit down with our kids that are back here in the States. Let them explain to you what it's like to have parents in the mission field, especially when things get squirrely like they did over the past. Well, it's been happening. I scrolled through my last few podcasts, and we've been talking about elections and about violence for a while. So I think it'd be good to hear their side of things. That way you guys can get a better grasp for that. I was able to talk to our deputation coordinator today, Brother Cannon, and he's got a great lineup coming up. We're going to be starting our deputation here pretty soon. So if we're coming to your state, please make sure you reach out to Brother Cannon, get a schedule. We'd love to see you, love to be with you, Love to fellowship with you and talk about the good things that are happening in Papua New Guinea and share this burden with you guys. We love you. We appreciate you, and we'll talk to you soon.